Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota, here in the US. And I'm here to bring you a non-live paper crafting class. I am recording this after I did a live on Facebook where I had lots of different issues, technical issues, and things like that. So we're going to do a non-live version, and this is the one that you'll be seeing on YouTube and on my blog. I'm going to share with you a very fun idea called color popping. At least that's what I'm calling it. And this timeless tulips stamp set that I'm going to be using is perfect for this technique. So let's go to my computer. I want to make sure I have this set up here. We're going to move to the computer and you're going to see some supplies listed here. So we're going to use the timeless tulips, right? And when you pair that, by the way, let's say you don't have this stamp set, if you do purchase it with the coordinating punch called the Tulip Builder Punch, you're going to save 10%. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that in there. We're also going to be using some fun colors, Blueberry Bushel, Basic Black, Whisper White, and Pineapple Punch for the cardstock colors. And then Call Me Clover for the grosgrain ribbon. Along with that, we'll have some fun little accent pieces. We'll be using some white little dots to accent the card as well. And to color in the images, we're going to use blends markers in these colors here. You may notice that these colors are the 2018 through 20 in colors that will be leaving us soon. So I want to make sure that you have notice about that before they disappear. Here are the tools that are listed, some adhesives and things like that. And here I have the measurements. So if you are watching this on my blog, you can actually just scroll down and see the measurements there. Otherwise, if you're watching this on YouTube, scroll down into the information underneath the video, and there will be a link to go to my blog so that you don't have to worry about taking a screenshot right now. Okay, so you can just copy and paste from my blog. I also will have photos of the project, the cards that I've made, that you can see on my blog if you visit me there at StampYourArtOut.com. Now, after this is done, if you're interested in getting any of these products, again, in the video description or on my blog post, you'll be able to find shop buttons and you can purchase any of these items through my online store. So let's move to the desktop. Okay, here we go. Fun, fun, fun. Timeless Tulips is the stamp set. This is the coordinating punch. You can see that it punches out this large flower and this curvy leaf here. You can also see that there's a uniqueness to the image that is in here. The tulip has some shading in it as if it's meant to be stamped in a color instead of black. And that, in fact, is probably what the artist intended, but we're going to stamp it in black and color it in with blends markers. And this color popping technique, the idea I got from a fellow Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the UK, and his name is Jay, and he's from, and I want to make sure I say this right, Mitosu Crafts, MITOSU crafts.com, and I will, I think that's how you say it, yes, and I'll put a link. I'll put a link, okay? But they did a variation of the card I'm going to show. So I'm casing their idea because I want to show it to even more people that may not have seen their video because it's drop dead gorgeous. So for our card, we're going to prepare our pieces. We're going to use our 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to cut it in half this way and then score it down the middle. So we'll just lift up the handle here, put it at 4 1/4, which is half of 8.5, and we're going to slice it right down the middle. And then with our scoring blade and our cardstock positioned this way at 5 1/2, which is half of 11, we're going to put a crease in it. And now we're going to grab our bone folder and give that a nice crisp crease. We'll set this off to the side. We're going to use a piece of basic black cardstock, which is 4 1/4 by 2 3/4 inches. And if you'll notice, look at this. You can fit 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. You can get 4 out of a half sheet, so 8 out of a full sheet of cardstock. And then our pineapple punch color, it measures 4 3/4 inches by 3 1/2. And you can actually get, if you position it this way on a full sheet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can get 5 layers that way out of a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. The other cardstock color that we're using is Whisper White, and we're going to use the thick Whisper White. So we'll bring in a scrap of that. There we go. And I think we can set this aside for now. So we're going to dive into some in-color information before we begin our coloring. These are the in-colors that are leaving us. They are the 2018 through 2020 in-colors. Again, I mentioned the names of the colors previously in the video. So check those out and make sure that when you go, here I'm going to show you again on my computer. Oops, hang on. There we go. So when you're at my blog or my website at stampyourartout.com, you can scroll to the shop button, and that'll take you to my online store. And if you click on shop by color, it will take you to this page where you can then click this button here that introduces you to a lot of the product that is released in those colors. These colors again are leaving us in just a couple months, but in about 3 weeks, Stampin' Up! Is going to introduce the new annual catalog, which debuts in June, to the demonstrators. We'll get to see it. And at that same time, the retiring list of products is going to get posted and shared by all. And so you'll want to make sure that you follow my blog or subscribe to my newsletter to make sure you know what's retiring. But those colors are going to be included in there, and any product that has that color. You won't see all those products listed here in the online store under that section, just because those colors are even in lots of other places like designer papers and things like that. So this is a helpful area, but just take note that you'll want to be looking at all those other goodies that may not be in that section of the online store. But these colors are going, anything with those in colors are going. If you have one of those ink pad colors or more, you'll want to make sure that you stock up on the ink refill, because the refills sell out pretty quick, okay? All right, let's set those off to the side and let's bring in some of those fun colors. We're going to be using our Call Me Clover Green. We're going to be using the Lovely Lipstick, and we're going to be using the Pineapple Punch in the blends colors. These again are those in colors. Then we're going to bring in the Calypso Coral, which looks pretty close to the Grapefruit Grove color when it's colored down. And we're going to need to highlight some of the pink with a lighter pink, so we'll be using that. These two will color one flower, these three will color another flower, and these will color the leaves. So let's go ahead and start stamping. We're going to bring in our Memento Tuxedo Black ink and our stamps. So we'll stamp this down onto our Whisper White thick cardstock. It looks best with the Whisper White, by the way, when you're going to do blends coloring. Let's go ahead and stamp this flower and this leaf. Now these images are not going to get cut out with the punch because they don't pair up with the punch very well, right? But you can fussy cut them, or I know that there are some people that own, those technological dealies like scanning cuts and stuff. So if you wanted to mass produce these, you could certainly use a machine like that. Stampin' Up! Does not sell those items, but just wanted you to know that that kind of stuff is out there if you don't like to cut with a scissors. I will be cutting with the scissors. This punch, as you can see, is lined up with my images because what I did is I took that punch and I cut it out of a scrap piece of paper like this. This is definitely a scrap piece of paper. I put it down onto my surface, and then I laid my clear stamps in those spaces, put my clear block on top, and picked them all up, and that's how I got them lifted into that setup so that they would stamp and punch easily. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and start coloring. Let's take our blends markers. Let's start with the Call Me Clover. Now when you're using blends markers, there's a few little things I want you to keep in mind. You always want to store them horizontally so that the ink stays even at both ends. There's a brush tip and a bullet tip. I like to use the brush tip. It's wider, but it also comes to a point. So when I want to get into those small corners, I can, but I feel like I can color a lot more at once with the brush tip. And you want to also color on the side. You don't want to go straight down. You want to color so that your marker, especially if you're using the brush tip, is laying somewhat downward. As you're coloring, you'll be able to smell something. That's because these are alcohol-based markers, so there's a little bit of alcohol odor to them. You'll also see as I'm pulling off the cap that I'm holding on to it this way and pushing the cap forward with both both hands here, so that it doesn't ruin the tip of my marker. Okay, so when I'm coming in here, I'm going to make sure that I'm leading with that point so that I can add the dark color in here. The colors, when you lay them down, are not going to blend right away. You can see that my greens have a distinct difference between the dark and the light right now. That's okay. You want to first put down your light and then your dark. Well, you could do it in different order, but this is the way I prefer to do it. So I put my light color, which I just did, in the middle, and then I'm putting my dark color, and then I'm coming back with my light color, and I'm going to do kind of a circular motion between the two colors to mix them together to blend the color. And it just, because the marker doesn't dry completely right away, you can get in and you can manipulate that color so that it blends, and that line between the two colors is blurrier. So we've got our leaves done. Now the flower we're going to do next is the pink one. The pink one, we're going to use 3 markers, and I am using 2 that coordinate just like I did here with the leaf. I'm using the dark and the light lovely lipstick colors, but then I'm bringing in another pink, and this is it's got a combo. I mean, it comes in a combo. So this is the light Flirty Flamingo, and it does. I mean, you can get it with the dark Flirty Flamingo if you want to, or you can buy them separately. But I wanted the highlight of this flower to be really, really light, and not the pinkness that you can get from the light lovely lipstick. So, and when I color the light lovely lipstick down, you're going to see, wow, that is a lot darker. So I wanted this to be almost, just a bright pink, a very bright and light and cheerful pink. So now we're coming in with our medium color. So when you're going to go doing a three color design, you want to go light to medium to dark to medium to light. Okay, so now we're on to the medium color, and we're going to come in, and you can see that there's a really big difference between these two colors, but we're going to soften it up when we finish with our dark and then start moving into the blending portion. So I've got my colors in there. In fact, you know what? Hang on. I want to make sure that I add some darkness in here too. So on the bottoms of these petals, I'm going to add some of that in there. And now we can take our darkest one. This is our dark, lovely lipstick. And I can come in through here. You'll notice I'm turning the cardstock and not my hand. It's easier. Same thing with when you cut with scissors. Always, manipulate the paper, not your hand. It's too hard, right? Okay, so, and I'm capping in between because alcohol-based markers can dry out, and so you want to make sure that you're capping them when you're not using them. So we went from light to medium to dark. Now we're going to go back the other direction. We're going to go to medium and then to light again. So we're going to start with our medium and blend our darkest color with our in-between color, our medium color. And then we're going to come in with our lightest color. And you can see you see that there? There's a distinct difference between this and this, but when we blend them together and soften that up, it's going to look amazing. Going here too. And now, look, you can't see that line anymore, right? Fun. Okay, and our last flower that we're going to color, we're going to use 4 different markers. So we'll put them in order from lightest to darkest, and we're going to go like this. So we're starting with our light pineapple punch, and again we're going to go with the highlighted areas of our flower. In fact, you could go the whole you could do the whole flower with the light, and then eventually, go over the areas where you want it to be dark with the dark. But we'll just emphasize that area right through there. And then we're going to come in with our next color, which is the dark pineapple punch. And we're going to go a little bit closer to the darkest areas of the flower, like that. And then we'll come in with our Calypso Coral. So this is where you're going to see a bigger difference between the colors. We'll come down in here. So just gradually moving away from the lightest area. And in this area, we want to make sure that we're getting into the crevices of the petals, the inside areas here. I went out of my line. That's okay. I think we're actually, we're using that color. We're using that color on the outside anyways. That's what's going to really make it pop too, you'll see. Okay, I'll show you that in a second. Anyways, so here we go with our darkest color along the bottom. I'm going to hold this up for you to see before I start my blending. Okay, can you see that? All right, it needs to be blended, right? You can see lines, you can see that things aren't blended quite yet. So now we go the other direction, and we go from our dark Calypso Coral to our lighter Calypso Coral with a swirly motion. And in here too. And then we're going to come to our dark pineapple punch blended with our light Calypso Coral. And I think if we just do those, because the light and the dark pineapple punch, there's not much of a difference there. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend these, and I'll hold it back up for you to see. So there we go. Much better as far as blending goes. Now we'll grab our Calypso Coral light, and we're going to go around the outer edges of all of these shapes. So we're just going to take and draw an outline. So this is where some of the magic happens. So when you see the finished card, it actually gives you the illusion that you've stamped onto colored cardstock because the outline is colored, okay? But then how do you get that bright yellow? How do you get that bright pink, that light pink in there? How do the colors look so true even though you've stamped and colored onto Calypso Coral cardstock? And you haven't, have you? No, it's amazing. It's going to be so much fun. So there's that, and then we'll do this one here. Another thing that makes those colors pop is putting it against black when it's done. When we're all done with this, you're going to see how that black really makes everything stand out and look almost like you used fluorescent gel pen markers. It's crazy. All right, so now we're going to do some fussy cutting. So you can see when I punched them, I got a 1/16 of an inch around my image, which is why I did the fussy cutting around about a 1/16 of an inch away. And so as I zoom in, you can see that really well. Okay, we're going to start assembling now. So let's go ahead and take our base. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to cut a strip of Whisper White cardstock for our sentiment. So let's just bring back the cutter for a second. We're going to slice off this scrap here. And that measurement was just under a half inch. So when you're looking at this, and I'm glad I'm zoomed in here, there's a 1/16 of an inch mark just before the half inch mark, and that is at 7/16. The 3/8, which was before that, even more like skinnier, was just not big enough, and the half inch just seemed too big. So there, we have that piece. We're gonna bring our stamps in, and we're gonna stamp our happy birthday on the white, about a half of an inch away from the left edge, and then we'll stamp this sentiment on our pineapple punch, and this will go on the inside of the card just because I thought it needed a little bit more yellow, so that'll be on the inside of the card. I love this sentiment, by the way. It's perfect for this time right now as we're going through the COVID-19 pandemic, to have that sentiment on any card that you send in the mail. Yeah, it's true. It makes a difference. Okay, so let's add this to the inside of the card with our snail adhesive. You're just going to run the tape down and lift, press down and lift. And that'll go on the inside of the card like that. This piece is going to go on the outside, but first we're going to add these pieces to the black. Did you notice too that the color seeps through to the back side of that Whisper White? And that's why I have the grid paper down here, so you want to make sure that you're protecting your work surface. We're going to have that slightly taller than the middle section here. Our pink flower can go right next to it, right about there. And then we're going to curl our leaves and trim and curl our white sentiment piece. So I'm curling it this way and then like that to get kind of an S shape. Can you see that? We'll do the same thing here. So we'll curl and then we'll curl the end, and we've got another S shape. And this piece we need to trim about a half an inch away, and then we're going to trim a little like a V in there. And I'm missing a pencil just like I did on my live. I'm going to mark it with my blue pen here. I can't erase it though, so I'm going to cut beyond, but you would cut to that point because that point was set in the middle between the top and the bottom, and about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch in. And now I've got my little mark there. I'm going to go a little bit further because I still see blue. Okay, and that's how you get that banner look. So let's go ahead and curl that the same way. Curl it like that, and then the end goes up, and you have that little S curve again, right? Now we'll grab our dimensionals, and we'll put one on the back side of this piece, and this piece, where that would pop up off the page, right? The highest part. So it's going to go right behind the little bump coming up. And then we'll grab our glue dots, and we'll put a glue dot here and a glue dot here, and that will be for our sentiment. For this one here, we're going to put a glue dot right there on the end of the leaf. I didn't pick that glue dot up. Hang on. There we go. And then on this one, same thing. Where does it go? It goes right here. Okay, and then we have to remove the backings, the release paper from our dimensionals, pull those off the back, and we'll go ahead and start building the rest of this. So this is going to go right below our flowers. Make sure that this strip is parallel to the bottom of your black cardstock. This piece is going to get tucked in here, and I like it behind my flower a bit here. So I'm going to tuck it like that, and then this leaf is going to come in over here like that. And then we'll just put some, oops, actually I don't want snail there, I want dimensionals. So we're going to put one in each corner. The nice thing about putting your dimensionals in the corner is that when you're mailing your card to somebody, you're not going to have a super thick card, because watch what happens. Here are our dimensionals. We got them right here in the corners, and then we have these dimensionals in this spot. So really your card is only the thickness of the cardstock layers and one one layer of dimensionals if you think about where they're positioned. The next step is to take and put some white little dots. And I thought that this was a really great idea that Jay did in his video with his card. So I'm going to do the same thing. I have to apologize. I do not have the, let me get this written on some scrap paper here to get the pen going. I do not have the chalk marker that we carry. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. So you're going to have to forgive me that I'm using contraband. This is a gel marker that we used to carry. So, and it kind of gives that same look. So basically you're just coming through here and you're putting some white dots onto your leaves and your flowers. And then it really is fun when you start to add those white dots to the black and the blue. And you'll want to be careful when you are putting that marker on that you don't, like I stuck my finger in it. So I have a slightly larger white dot here, but I also, on purpose, did a few little larger white dots here and there. But isn't that beautiful, the way that looks? So the last couple things that we want to add to our card are the ribbon. So I've got about 6 inches of ribbon here, and this is our Call Me Clover ribbon. I thought it would be a great color to add because it kind of brings in the green from the flowers. So we'll adjust the ends here, just tying a little bow with it. And then we're going to trim the ends with our paper snips. Here it is. I like the right side to be slightly longer. We'll grab our glue dot, pick that up. And we're just going to add this off to the side here, right in that spot. And we have these things called Happiness Blooms Enamel Dots. And they come in the colors of Call Me Clover, Lovely Lipstick, and Pineapple Punch, 3 of the in colors. And then this is Calypso Coral, although it looks a lot like Grapefruit Grove. And this is Night of Navy, although it coordinates really well with Blueberry Bushel. So, so you can add those in and around your images here. I'm looking at the cards that I've done already, and I think I am going to add some yellow. So it's a bold one though. It's nice and bright, so we're not going to do too many of them. Probably just maybe 3. So we'll take and add one. Let's see here. We'll add one up here. You know what? We'll cover up that white splotch. That one that I stuck my finger in. So we're going to cover that up, and then we'll add another one maybe here. And I don't know if I can pick it up. There we go. I'm picking it up with my take your pick tool. Maybe right here. We'll see. I might rearrange them. I'm not sure I like them there. But it's done for now. And I'm going to show you the other versions of this card that I have been working on since my live that I did on Facebook. So we're going to zoom out a tad so you can see more of my desk area. So we have this one that I did with the green. I thought that looked great because it just brightens up the leaves a little bit. You can see I did the flowers the same colors, the outline around the outside the same color, the light Calypso Coral. The inside is the same color as well. And so that one, the only difference is where I put all my dots and which color dots I used. And on this one here, I did my colors backwards. So I did, well, the opposite way I should say. So the pink flower was the large one. And I used the navy dots on this one. So they're even more subtle. They're barely visible in there. And then this one here, I did, oh, and another thing, sorry, hang on. I did the outline in the blue, the light Night of Navy blends marker. So I used that color there to outline around the flowers. And so it looks more like these flowers are popping out in the middle of the night, doesn't it? And then this one, same outline with the Calypso Coral. I used the Calypso Coral / Grapefruit Grove little enamel dots from the Happiness Blooms set of dots. And then this one, which I have a white interior for because I have no yellow on here at all. I use just the pinks, and I use the pink Lovely Lipstick dots on there. So lots of different versions of the same card. Again, I'll have links to the cards that inspired my idea in the description of my video and on my blog. I just came out with some tutorials that I released on my blog recently, and I hope that you come and visit so you can see those. Again, my blog address, stampyourartout.com. In the tutorials for sales section, we have just put together 90 demonstrators, including myself, put together this, what we're calling this mega tutorial bundle with a new suite that just got released called Ornate Garden. So you'll want to check that out because it's amazing. Lots of ideas in that mega tutorial. And then of course we have our monthly all-star tutorial that just got released as well. So make sure that you see those. You might want to subscribe to my blog and to my newsletter if you haven't done so already so that you can get the latest news. And my next live will be on Facebook on my Stamp Your Art Out with Rachel business page. You'll be able to see my next live next week, Wednesday, April 8th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Let's talk about the winners because we did announce those winners on the live, but let me share those with you now. So we had a couple winners that we drew from last week's video where I shared the Seriously the Best card kit and I doubled the cards in the kit. And so if you saw that video and commented either in the YouTube or on the Facebook Live during the last week, you got entered into the prize drawing, and these are the winners. So from Facebook, we had Tony Woods, and from YouTube, Sue Wisniewski. I think that's how you say your name. So congratulations to both of you. And then the other winner that I drew, and make sure I'm saying her name correctly. I'm going to pull her name up. There it is. Roberta Caraway won the Thoughtful Bloom stamp set from the live where we did this video on Wednesday. The other version of this video. So comment in this video to get entered into the prize drawing, which will be drawn next Wednesday. And also, go over to my Facebook page, leave a comment there. It doubles your chances, right? The reason why I'm also giving this stamp set as the prize is because I think this flower will work really well with this technique where you do the blends and you cut it out, or you can punch it out. There was a coordinating punch. This is a leftover celebration free item from our celebration promotion that just ended. And there was a coordinating punch, which will still be available once the new annual catalog comes out. That is one of the products that is going to continue to be made available. So if you win this stamp set and you don't have the punch, just wait a couple months and it'll be there for you. Otherwise, you can fussy cut that, right? So thank you, everyone. I'm going to try to adjust my cameras here. Hang on. There we go. So again, I'm glad that you visited me today on YouTube or on my blog. And thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. And in the meantime, I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.